It's rare these days to explore completely unspoiled places. Places where humans haven't impacted yet. Where the animals roam free and the clean rivers flow strong. Daisetsuzan National Park is one of those. Join us on today's adventure to explore the stunning landscapes of one of the most beautiful and in many places still untouched parks in Japan. Daisetsuzan National Park is the largest national park in Japan. It has a variety of adventures that go along with the ancient Ainu culture.
大雪山国立公園は日本で一番最初に国立公園に指定された場所であり、日本で一番大きな国立公園になります。で、よく言われるのは北海道の屋根、中央部分に位置しているので、北海道を覆うように大きな山々が連なっているというところから北海道の屋根なんていう言われ方もしています。
Daisetsuzan National Park is home to rare plants, animals, and elevation gains of up to 2,000 meters. It's a hiker's heaven. Due to the high altitude, the area has a similar alpine environment to 3,000-meter mountains in the main island of Japan. Each season is accompanied by fresh new views of the landscapes that lie here. The mountains are complemented by sprawling marshlands and beautiful lakes. Our journey begins in Lake Shikaribetsu, the highest elevation lake in Hokkaido. Mr. Masahiko Sakamoto, founder of Shikaribetsu Nature Center, who studied conservation at Yellowstone National Park, is going to tell us about it before we head off to kayak on the lake.
アウトドアなんですけど、中でもエコツアーっていう環境を大事にしていこうということと、またその観光客の方にもその環境を理解していただいて、環境保全とかにもやっていることも理解してもらいたいと、それをまた楽しんでいただきたいということでメニュー作りをしております。
When the amount of lava domes around this area grew in the past, it stopped the flow of YANBETSU River, which later we'll take a dip in. This stop eventually made the river turn into what we know today as Lake Shikaribetsu. Let's hop in a kayak and explore Lake Shikaribetsu.
やはりカヌーというのはシカリベツ湖湖ですので、それでだいたい毎年3番目ぐらいに湖の透明度とか湖の綺麗さになるんですけど、何回かは日本で一番ということがこの10年間でもなってますけど、その自然をですね、湖面からカヌーというその動力を使わないエコな乗り物でですね、見ていただけるっていうことが一番然別湖を理解していただける一つのツールじゃないかなと思ってますので、まずカヌーを見ていただいて。
Back in the days, during summertime, it was possible for the Ainu people to come up dirt roads to Lake Shikaribetsu to catch fish and hunt deer. But during the winter, the snow would cover them and nobody was able to access the lake. That is why the Ainu never really settled down in this area. And with nobody knowing what was happening in Lake Shikaribetsu during the winter, the Ainu felt that this area was holy. So they called this place sacred. There is another interesting legendary story that is passed down within the Ainu about this area being called sacred. The story of the White Snake Princess. The story begins with the Ainu going under severe death and famine. One day, the princess of White Snake showed up in front of the Ainu and told them there is a lake full of fish over the mountain. The Ainu walked over the mountain and actually found Lake Shikaribetsu full of fish, just like what the princess told them. Thanks to her, the Ainu were able to survive. Since then, the lake has been a holy place for the Ainu, and it's believed that this area is a sacred place for the gods. Lake Shikaribetsu has stood the test of time quite literally, as it is filled with environmental history. There are living species around the lake that are said to have survived the Ice Age. Another important lake in Daisetsuzan National Park is the sacred Lake SHINONOME. It's one of the 3 major secret lakes in Hokkaido. The only way to access it is to kayak or hike in. Keep in mind that you, a human, are not the number one priority here. The living species, like plants and animals, are. To protect the area as a primeval forest, the trail is not controlled or managed. You're trekking through a wild trail-like road that the Shikaribetsu Nature Center guides have created over the years. Be careful as you step over fallen trees and piles of rocks to continue on the trail. Of course, take caution as you walk so you won't destroy the plants that call these parts home. But if you're lucky, you might hear the cries of the rock rabbit who live in the wind caves. These are the slanted hills with rocks.
なんかさ、これバフバフって押されてる。
おう、
すごいでしょ。
何これ。
何これ。夏になって暖かい空気が、この岩に当たると結露しちゃうんですね。で結露して、水分がたっぷり、そうすると苔がもっさりってことになっていきます。で給湯塔がこの中にあるおかげで地面が要は冷たいですから、ここの辺りに生えてる植物っていうのは本来この標高 1000m 切るぐらいの高さでは出てこない植物ばっかり生えてます。森林限界って言って北海道だったら標高が 1800m 前後ですかね。その直下だから 1500m ぐらい1500から 1800m ぐらいの間に出てくるような植物ばっかりが、生えてる地帯になってるっていうのが面白いところですね。自然のアロマ体験をしていただこうと思います。じゃあこれ触ってください。この葉っぱの裏側がもさっとしてるので触って香りを指に移して香ってみてください。
おお。
独特の香り。
なんだろうこれ。
何の香りって表現が難しいでしょ。これ磯ツツジっていうツツジの香りです。ね、これ今もうこの時期なので夏の終わり、ですから葉っぱの勢いも徐々に落ち始めているシーズンになります。初夏のむせるような熱気の雨上がりとかになるとこの香りでもうこの辺の森中がもう
いい香り、
はい、包まれる、ね、そんなエリアになります。
In the 30 years of researching this area, Shikaribetsu Nature Center discovered that the water level of Lake SHINONOME is going down by a couple centimeters each year. If this continues, they predict it will sadly dry up. You can see the lake now through the opening. Just beside Lake SHINONOME, you can see Mount HAKU'UNZAN, one of the lava domes. Mountain trails here are also less maintained and more wild. The hills are pretty steep, so grab your trekking poles. It's going to be a nice elevation gain for this hike. As we hike higher up the mountain, there are less trees and more rocks on the ground. This is because Mount HAKU'UNZAN is an active lava dome, so there are more rocks on the summit, which affects the plant growth up high. On a clear day, you'd get a beautiful bird's eye view of Lake Shikaribetsu from Mount HAKU'UNZAN. Today, we celebrate our journey and all we've seen along the way. Now that we've climbed the mountain, let's try flying through the forest nearby. we're going to try a high-speed air trip similar to a ziplining experience. To protect the trees in the forest, Shikaribetsu Nature Center made its own unique boarding and landing platform. They took inspiration from skiing platforms and built them strong to withstand the heavy rains and even typhoons this area can experience. At 5 different speeds, you're going to experience how some of the animals and things of the forest take flight. At your peak speed today, you'll hit 40 kilometers per hour. First, you'll fly like insects. Dragonflies, for example, have a flight speed of 5 kilometers per hour. In the second flight, you'll soar like a wild bird. 60 meters through the trees at a speed of 15 kilometers per hour. The third course is 120 meters long and 20 kilometers per hour, similar to the flight of a seed. As seeds are eaten by animals, when a strong wind blows, it gets thrown away from its original place. Seeds are an important factor in the health of the forest. The fourth course is compared to an Ezo flying squirrel. This course is the highest and fastest out of all 5, where you fly 14 meters above ground for 250 meters at 40 kilometers per hour. The fifth course is the king of the skies like Blackiston's owl at 984 feet and 18 miles per hour. When these owls take flight, they look for small animals to hunt. When you soar, look to see if you can spot 3 stuffed animals of a small mouse we've hidden below for you. Find all 3 and you have the eye of an owl. Now you must be hungry. Kick back and enjoy some home-cooked barbecue from Mr. Ishikawa, your chef for the day.
今グツグツ言ってるのが、地元の野菜を使ったチキンチーズグリルって言います。じゃがいもがですね、ちょっと変わったこう赤いデストロイヤーっていう、かぼちゃと、じゃがいもを掛け合わせたようなこうちょっと甘みのあるじゃがいもと、今日は北あかりっていうその地元の、そうですね、ホクホクのじゃがいもと2種類入っています。それと、鶏肉ですね、トウモロコシっていうのをこう蒸し焼きですね。このそもそもダッチオーブンっていうのは魔法の鍋って言われてまして、本当にこう食材の美味しさが素直に出る鍋なんですね。そんなんでこう、グリルですね、蒸し焼きにしてあります。はい、地元のやっぱり小麦の産地なんですね、十勝は。なのでその地元の小麦粉を使ったパンですね。
Now let's head over to the YANBETSU River to gaze underwater. A national monument, the YANBETSU River is the largest river that flows into Lake Shikaribetsu and is called the mother river of the lake. While river walking, you can take the looking glass and dip it into the water. See the abundance of fish and river life that take part in the food chain. The calming steam creates a peaceful atmosphere. YANBETSU means cold river in the Ainu language, and just like the meaning, its water is cold all year round. Even in the summer, its temperature only goes up to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Time to get out of the water and move back into the mountains. We're moving locations to our next adventure in Daisetsuzan National Park. Daisetsuzan hiking trail has a wonderful loop hike, and we're going on this adventure today and exploring nature's bounty in the area. This subalpine day hike is near the northeast side of the national park. The rushing water nearby provides a soothing atmosphere with steam in the distance. Even the birds find peace in these parts. Many large and small ponds and marshes are scattered in the forest under Takanegahara. The forest zone is a mixed forest of broadleaf trees like rowan, birch, and coniferous trees like the spruce tree.
ここが、緑沼、ここにもね書いてありますけれども、緑沼と言います。 ここはぐるっと一周すると大体3時間ぐらいのルートの中になるんですけれども、標高が平均 1000m ぐらいの高層湿原帯となります。でこの高層湿原帯というのは、特殊な環境になるので、植生も動物たちも、ここに適した進化をして生活をしています。
Here at MIDORI-NUMA Pond, you can see the sulfur bubbling up to the surface slightly. The volcanoes are always making themselves present.
そういう雪が豊富なので、この地頭たちにも水の供給が非常に多くされています。どんなに暑い年でもこの水が枯れることはなく、周りを潤しています。クマはですね、この辺りに限らず北海道の山ではどこにでも生息をしています。ここのクマが特別とか、あそこのクマが凶暴とかっていうわけではなく、ここは特にヒグマの生活を中心に、この生活を崩さないような人間との共生を考えているので、
There are also only certain times you can enter this area, which depends on the brown bears and their current locations. After a long walk, onsen is a wonderful, relaxing way to spend the afternoon in the open air. Onsens are something every visitor loves.
Wow, this is so amazing.
And we'll be visiting 3 of them. Since ancient times, the people of Japan have loved onsens. They will travel far and wide to some of the most famous ones. Please keep in mind that there are certain protocols that go with bathing in an onsen, but they're pretty simple. You need to take a shower before you enter the water. It's pretty important for the onsen waters to stay clean. You bathe in your birthday suit. That's right. No clothes or swimwear allowed in the bath. And always be respectful of others. Do not run, talk too loudly, drink alcohol, or splash around while in the onsen. Don't forget to take in a hand towel so that you can lightly dry yourself before returning to the changing room. The NUKABIRA Onsen is a hot spring village by Lake NUKABIRA. It gives you a peaceful, natural outdoor experience. A curious explorer discovered this spot back in 1918. NUKABIRA was a primeval forest overgrown with spruce and fir. Upstream of the Shikaribetsu Valley, Shikaribetsu River, we're arriving to find KANNO Onsen. This onsen was discovered in 1907. After being given permission to use the hot springs, small houses were built in this rugged winterland. Next, we're taking a dip at SHIKANOYU Onsen. Located in the Shikaribetsu Gorge, it is a secret hot spring that springs along the clear stream of the YANBETSU River. The water here flows down from Mount Shikaribetsu. Walk your way down from the nearby campground to the path that leads to the water and hop in. The hot water that gently flows out of the cracks in the rocks becomes the optimum temperature as it is poured into a deep bath in this mixed bathing onsen. Mount Arashiyama is most popular along the Ashikawa locals, and also a sacred place for the Ainu people. We're now visiting a replica of a traditional chisei house. This is how the Ainu lived back in the day. According to the Ainu, deities are beyond the power of humans, but are indispensable to our lives. Most of the flora and fauna important to Ainu livelihood has been considered good deities, whereas pandemics and natural disasters have been considered bad deities that threaten daily life. The Ainu take every opportunity to pray to their deities. No matter which deity they are praying to, they start by praying to Apahuchi Kamui, the deity of fire, so that their prayers will reach the deity they are aimed at. Apahuchi Kamui, which resides in the hearth installed in the Chisei, is the deity with whom the Ainu are most familiar, the one who keeps watch over them. Now that we're rested, it's time to stretch our legs again. Our goal today is to make it to Hokkaido's highest peak, Asahidake, also located in the northern part of the national park. Let's start the journey to the sacred location by taking the cable car to Sugatami Station to get a better look at the area. On the way up, you can start to see how steep the valleys lie below. After taking in these views, let's start our hike up Asahidake. Up to it is the tallest mountain on Hokkaido, Asahidake. It is an active volcano. You can even see steaming fumaroles releasing their gases into the air as you approach the summit. Also passing by, Sugatami Naike, a small and cold pond by the volcano. The name means pond of full-length mirror. We can see Asahidake reflected upside down on the surface of the pond, if the weather is good. Asahidake stands 2,291 meters tall. It's also made the 100 Famous Mountains of Japan list, and you'll find it on the north side of Daisetsuzan National Park. Whether you get to see the vast views or not, this climb is one of the great memories you can take home with you.
We did it. That's kind of hard, but I'm satisfied. All the way to 2,291 meters. That was tiring, that was long, but I was definitely satisfied. A nice hike for sure. Woo. Woo.
Looking back to the journey we've had today is important to honor the land we have carefully trekked through. The river we've walked along, and the sacred lakes we've kayaked. Responsible tourism is woven into the way locals live here, who call the Daisetsuzan National Park surroundings home.